Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We are here with the incredible Courtney Ward. Now, Courtney, I know you're a production manager, but do you like to be introduced like as production manager, or what is your intro? Because you have several hats,
I'm
like producer hats too.
I'm
Okay.
Courtney Ward-Thompkins.
Okay, Miss
And
Courtney
yes,
Ward-Thompson.
I'm a producer of unscripted and scripted television. But I started off as actually a production secretary and went into being a production coordinator, travel coordinator, production supervisor. I was a director's assistant at one time. I used to work with Goody Mob's management
Oh
company. I used to work
wow.
for
I just
Bernard
saw them
Clark.
last night. Oh, I'm still
Yes,
high from
I've
that
worked.
Goody Mob concert last night in Atlanta. That
You
big.
did. You know what would be so great if like Outkast, Goody Mob, and Sleepy Brown and all them did like a concert. Wouldn't that be great?
I did it last night. You missed it. What? Big Boy, Sleepy Brown, Goody Mob, Young Bloods. Like it was amazing for the city of East Point. Their finale wind down Wednesdays. Big Boy was the headliner, and I got all the footage.
Riding dirty on a fast.
They did all of the songs, all of the songs. And for Andre 3000, they just played it on the video screen. Nobody rapped. They let Andre do his part on the video, like the music video, and then Big Boy came in. I thought that was
They could do like a little hologram for him. No, I'm just kidding.
He would probably be so upset since he's
Girl,
not.
he would not sign off on that.
I was thinking, like, is he gonna pop out, or were they like, no, we can't afford to bring him?
I'm telling you, if he made an appearance, oh my God.
Yeah, you
that would be
missed
a
the
sold out
whole
venue.
shebang. That's why you were supposed to be in Atlanta. I think Mr. Tompkins needs to know that you guys need to move here, not in Dallas.
I will give him that message.
Please give him the memo, okay? Yes, I have spoken. So, a lot of people underestimate what it takes. You named all of these different positions you have, but in order to actually be a production manager, you have to have experience on all those levels because you have to have understanding of what the job entails.
Right. So as you know, I've never actually been a production manager. Like currently I'm producing, but I will say that my experience has led me to where I am now. Like I used to intern with Shanti Das at LaFace Records in marketing.
Oh, wow.
I interned with Ryan Glover at Noontime.
So you were in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I graduated from Clark Atlanta University. I have my business degree in marketing.
So what? So
I studied abroad in China. Like, yes.
This is the greatest place on earth to live. So I don't even understand what the problem is right now.
I'm gonna talk to him after this interview. Okay.
Okay. We'll get it resolved.
But you wear a lot of hats, and you have to take care of the cast and the crew, and you have to secure locations and order equipment for the shoot. So you do wear many hats.
What do you think is the most misconstrued judgment on what it takes to, get to the level of in production where you are right now with what you've attained?
I think it's a lot of unwritten rules, so to speak. So I have a degree in business marketing. I didn't study, mass comm, or I didn't study at NYU per se, film. But like recently I took a class, a producing class with Diane Ashford. Okay. And during the pandemic and COVID, I was taking accounting classes. Right. So I think you have to always sharpen your tools in your tool belt, so to speak. Yes. Like you always have to be a student. You always have to be learning. You always have to know the new software. Like for instance, Netflix uses a system called Prodigal. Okay. So that's their system. They also use another system called Maniac for their SAG contracts. So that's the system they use, but you could go work for NBC Universal. They don't use a system like that, so to speak. Right. They do manual SAG contracts with wet signatures. So you always kind of have to know how to shift and pivot when you work with different studios, whether it be Netflix, NBC, Sony, Paramount, Hulu. I would just say always be a student, always seek opportunities to learn, take seminars, take classes, webinars, anything that you can do to learn and educate yourself. I always tell people to find a mentor. I've always had a mentor.
Yeah.
I think mentors are super important. They keep you from bumping your head and making mistakes. So that would be like my advice to people.
Can you give me an example of something where you thought like, this is the way to go, and then you went to your mentor first and they were like, no, ma'am?
Oh, absolutely. It was actually a show that I was going to work on, which I thought was like a great show. It was about this, the first like African-American like baseball player, and they were starting up the show. And I was so excited to work on it. I was like, this is going to be a great show. It's educational, it's groundbreaking. But the show was like not funded. It wasn't, they were not registered with any of the unions and things like that. And they were like, oh, we're gonna go union, once we start shooting. Oh, right. We have the money, it's funded, things like that. And
how do you know? Like, how would you look into that? Because that probably happens a lot. People see a job opportunity and they dive in, and then everything is just a mess.
Well, one way you could call the union and see if they've signed their union agreement. Oh. If the show has signed their IATSE agreement.
They'll release that information to someone?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, okay, great. That's good to know, because a lot of times, you have younger people, and these young people think that we are in the popcorn business, that people just pop in these positions overnight and they can have no experience in the industry, and then they have an attitude when they're not accepted on a certain level. They don't want to start as a PA. They don't want to go get coffee and schedules and all of that. They want to be the boss.
But let me tell you, I started off as a production secretary on a Will Packer film with Will Packer and Rob Hardy at the time. It was Rainforest Films. Yeah. And my friend Sakina Brown, she's a costume designer. She knew Diane Ashford. And I was like calling Diane. I was like, hello, Diane. I was like, have you guys started shooting yet? I was calling her, I think like every 2 weeks checking. But on that show as a production secretary, like I was doing like a little bit of travel. Like I even remembered Frank Galini. He was our production designer in the art department. Like he used me as a model to be like on the cover of a CD that they were using as a prop. Boris Kojo and Idris Elba were in that film. And like I went and picked up like one of the actors from the airport, like
I know if you was with Will Packer and Rainforest, you might do a little bit of everything. That's not all the time, but they are very like, oh, so what you can go and get.
Yeah, you got to take lunch orders. Sometimes people like little coffee breaks. Like they do that as like a treat for people in production. Like, hey, you guys, we're doing a Starbucks run. Does anybody want coffee? You get coffee for the entire office. So you just have to be kind of willing to do anything and everything that, is professional, of course, to help with the production. Even like if the cast member might need something, like I've even made like dental appointments for like one of our directors,
hey,
because he's on set all day and he's like, I just broke my tooth. I need to get to the dentist,
Right. Did you have to find the dentist too?
Yeah, like as a production coordinator. And I was thinking to myself, like, this is not my job, but
right. And that's was my very next question. Cause sometimes they're like, it's not my job, but it's like when you walk in that studio, production wise, anything that needs to be done, if somebody needs it, it requires humility. And
absolutely,
it requires you to have the proper attitude about actually what's needed, because sometimes there is no, this is only your job description. It's whatever is needed to get us moving forward to get through the production.
absolutely.
Yeah. So would you say that that is number one to building a relationship? And I tell actors all the time that everything, especially in this day and age with the people who have been doing this for the last 10 or 20 years, relationships supersede a lot of things.
I would agree. A lot of my jobs that I get or connections I have are based off my relationships. Yes. Relationships are super important. And just maintaining those relationships, also being a good resource when you can, you know, it's a give and take as a mentor-mentee, you know, relationship, I would say.
I love it. So I did get a chance to watch the project on Netflix that you were part of.
Oh, great.
First Kill.
Yes.
I didn't understand it at first, like, and then when I saw, I'm like, oh, because I don't like scary stuff. But I did like get through a lot of it because it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. But it was like a little gory, but not, you know, it wasn't like extra gory or anything. But right. I got the concept of First Kill because I was like, what is First Kill? Like, kill who first? You know, but I was thinking like Kill Bill. It was just a
you were? Okay.
Word.
It's almost similar, I would say, like to Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
You know, it's a love story. It's vampires. It's ghouls and goblins and blood and killing and family hierarchies. And, you know, I will say on that show, I was working as a production supervisor. And I will say like Netflix, well, it was kind of like Netflix, Alicia Henderson, Eleni Gonzalez, Jim Bigwood, they all gave me the opportunity to be the production supervisor. Wow. On that show. And
how organized did you have to be for that?
Well, I went from working like in the office to like basically working on set, like night shoots. Oh, so really? I would start at like 6 p.m. at night. Oh. And I would work until 6 a.m. in the morning. But the caveat is on some days, since it was an episodic, we would have scouts. So say, for instance, we have to scout a location for the next episode, maybe say like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so you have to be at that location to scout with, you know, camera, locations, props, all the various departments, the DP, the director, the executives. And then you have to go to set after that at 6 p.m. and work until. Oh,
that wasn't during the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.?
Yes, but some days you're starting your day earlier than 6 p.m. because you have to do location scouts for your next episode. So also I like to tell people, you know, you have to have a good work ethic in this business. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not a, oh, I get off at 5 p.m. I start at 8 a.m. It's not that type of job. Show, you're kind of like engulfed in that show, you know, like you're a part of the thread of that show. You know, it's not like I clock in at 8 a.m. I get off at 5 p.m. It's not that. And so I'm always very honest, you know, with people. You know, I started doing seminars for production assistants and training production assistants. And that's one thing that I tell people who attend my seminars is that, you know, the hours, you know, you're going to work at least a 12-hour day most of the time.
Look, if you're lucky.
Well, you know.
I know. That set life is not for me. It is not for me. Yeah. For the weak or the faint at heart. I can say that you have to have a lot of tenacity. So let me ask you, it seems like there is a lot of structure in certain positions. You know, you got to know, like mentally, you have to mentally be organized. Like, okay, for the next 2 months, I will not sleep. I want to have my normal eating regimen. I may not see my family.
Oh, no? Absolutely. Yes.
And how important is it that you have a mate that's understanding about this business?
I would say it's imperative that you have a partner that is supportive of your career and your aspirations and your goals. Just because I think in my case, since my husband, is a producer, he's worked with Judge Judy and a court show called Hot Bench, that he understands the business.
Right.
And before he got into working in court TV, he did other projects in television, and he worked in the music industry.
Right.
So I think, sometimes when people, I would say like my relatives, like my family that works like corporate jobs, like my Aunt Renee one day, she was like, isn't it against the law for you guys to work like, those hours?
You cannot,
like 70, 80 hours a week.
Penal code number 295 says, and they would be like, goodbye, thank you.
Yeah, I would just say you have to be upfront and honest with your partner and let them know the type of business, that you're in and the hours. And sometimes it does interrupt your weekend, your family time. And it could be a little off-putting, I'm not going to lie, it is.
Yes.
Because you might get a call on a Saturday or Sunday about something that's going on with the production, maybe
right, it was about to go out on that picnic.
A lift got stolen from a location, or an actor missed a flight. Anything like that might be kind of urgent, or camera equipment didn't make it in time for this 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. call on Monday, and you have to shift the shooting schedule, or, just, adjust things. So, or push it back a few hours, this first scene that you were going to shoot that day. So yeah, it does interrupt your weekend sometimes.
Now, you have small children.
Yes, I do.
How would you explain the importance of balance, when you have children? Because I knew a Delta flight attendant, and during the pandemic, they were just working around the clock. Yeah. And she had 2 girls, 8 and 12. And she was just like, man, I get like, they have to pitch for days off, like, weekly. Oh, wow. They never really know their schedule. Mm-hmm. And even one time she got COVID, and they gave her 3 days to get back to work because they were short staffed. So I was like, oh, that could be a lot on a person, especially a female. But, we're built for this. We're built for this because a lot of times in the industry with women, we're overlooked for things because we're emotional. We have things going on, and they don't think that we can weather the storm. So that's another thing, when you have to show them what you got, how does that affect, life? What advice would you give someone looking to be into production and doing all these things and rising till they are the producer, executive producer, climbing that ladder? It's a lot.
My advice would have a good support system. I am truly blessed that I have a good support system. Being my husband, my mom and dad, my stepmother, my brother, aunts and uncles, friends. I do feel very blessed in that way.
Right.
And I will say balance is also important. Sometimes things can't always be balanced, but you try to find a balance. Like if you're working a show for 5 or 6 months, maybe take a month or 2 off and spend that time with your family, with that time being uninterrupted and you truly focusing on them. Because a lot of shows that I work on are sometimes out of state, and they are for 7 months or so.
Right. 7 months. Now,
it's like flying home every weekend or every other weekend, or my family flying to come to see me, and staying with me for a while. So it's just finding that balance that works with you, works for you and your partner or your situation or your family.
Right. So what is it about production that made you like, this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make because this is what I want to do? Like, where did you find love in what you were doing that you knew this would be your career?
that's a tough question.
Think so? Because you got to love this. It's so much sacrifice.
No, you do.
You really do.
Well, when I started interning at LaFace, like I said, I had my degree in business marketing from Clark Atlanta University. So I used I interned, thank you. I interned at LaFace Records in the marketing department because I was like, I'm going to, be like a super great global marketing exec.
Yes.
So
that's good. You was like, check.
Yeah, I was like,
checklist, okay.
Internship, So I met Shanti Doss, and she was in marketing, and she gave me the opportunity to intern at LaFace, and I spent a lot of time with Shonda McFarland, who was actually in marketing, who worked under Shanti, because Shanti was always traveling. She was all over the world. And I'm actually still friends with Shonda McFarland to this day.
From a sisterhood, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was Shanti, Shonda, and Falana. They all kind of. Falana Williams and Shonda. They shared an office.
Okay.
And, so that's kind of where it started. Like me, just interning in marketing at LaFace Records, but then LaFace got purchased by Arista Records.
Right.
When it was time for me to graduate. So it really wasn't, I didn't want to go to LA. I think I had an opportunity to work in LA at a record company.
You didn't want to go to LA?
I didn't want to go to LA at the time, even though I'm actually from LA.
Are you? Where?
Mm-hmm. I am. I grew up in Santa Monica, and I went to high school in West Covina.
Really?
South Hills High School.
I'm from Los Angeles.
I didn't know that.
I grew up in South Central LA, and I went to Downtown Business Magnet.
Okay, we're gonna have to sidebar that conversation.
I went skating in West Covina every weekend, every Sunday.
Really? Yes. I mean, La Puente, West Covina, Pomona.
Yes. Wow.
When I was younger, we lived in Venice, Santa Monica.
We was right on 91st in Hoover for 2 years until I was born to the day I moved out and got married. South Central. That's the only life I knew.
I did not know that about you. We're gonna have to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, now that explains a whole lot right now. Okay, got you. Now I'm getting your personality. Okay.
Okay. And wait, okay, so I was at LaFace interning in marketing.
Right.
And Arista bought LaFace. And then I started working with I interned at Goody Moms Management Company with Bernard Parks.
Okay.
And then I worked with Ryan Glover at Noontime. I interned there.
Ryan.
And then I started working in like commercials and music videos.
Really?
So that kind of dried up during that time. I think that was like around 2001. Like
that weird how at one time it was like videos.
Yes, and they had big budgets. Like, hey, Jan, I like the way you budget. That budget was over $1 million.
Yes.
Those were big budget music videos for back then.
Very big budget videos. Yeah.
For Outkast. And
it was all the music people filing bankruptcy.
I know.
After all of those big budgets, when they were like, oh yeah, about that, we're adding this to your tab. And they were like, what?
I know. I went to so many TLC concerts when I interned at LaFace. I was like,
wow, those are crazy times. And it's like, if we have the knowledge now, if they had the knowledge now that they needed to have back then as artists. So I'm glad that you said, that you have these seminars, because who better to tell a story and have these seminars than you, because you've experienced it all.
And that's the reason why I wanted to have the seminars, because I don't think even though there were women in my life back then that were, I guess they kind of helped shape me, but I don't think there was actually like a class that taught me like the technical stuff.
Your class,
you know what I mean?
There, just being there was class.
Yeah.
It was up to you to have a notebook and create that seminar that you would be teaching 15 years
you
later,
got to know accounting. You have to know organization. You have to know call sheets and data days and one-liners. You know how
papers. It's like
absolutely. Patient agreement. Accounting is very important also, but we'll talk about that later. It's all about accounting.
Important. Even as the artist, even as the talent, you need to know your own accounting. Okay.
I would tell anybody to take a couple accounting classes, and law classes are always so important.
Really?
Just to know the basics. Yeah, you need to know that. You need to know the basics.
So you just pay somebody and then they're not even abiding by it. And then you only look into it when the money is gone. You're like, what? The money tree is no more? You
need to know, that's just like how Oprah says she signs all her checks and Rihanna, you have to know about accounting.
Yeah, you can't get too busy to count your own money.
Yeah.
You can't. Unless you get a very dedicated husband who's willing to just do everything. Unless you get Marvin Sapp's wife, like husband, who will just do everything for you. Like that story was just so amazing of how she just did so much. It's like, it's so rare. That's very rare.
Yeah.
That way. Very rare.
Yes, absolutely.
So when will you have another class? Like, are you going to do this on an ongoing basis, or you can really do it online?
Well, I'm going to do another class in February.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to partner up with like an actor. One of my actor friends said that he wanted to be involved. So I'm hoping to partner up. When I had my seminar, I had Shane Bob, we had it at Roger Bob's studio, at Bobcat Film Studio. And I had, Shane Bob, who was, she spoke, and Rasheen Donaldson, she is a production manager. She's done a lot of things with like RuPaul Drag Race and a lot of line producing. Right. And then I also had my friend Summer Oliver, who is a coordinator. She does a lot of, she works a lot with actors and SAG agreements. So I had people kind of speak on different areas of expertise.
Right.
But I also think like I want to touch on just, the cast aspect of it. So he was just going to talk about like SAG agreements and start paperwork for cast and, scripts and data days, all the great cast stuff and all the agreements and things like that.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I was looking at this, helping a client out, and that it's a lot, the SAG stuff. Some of them don't get it if they're not paperwork people, i.e. athletes. I think athletes, one of the worst disservices they do in the league is they just give them somebody from the agency to do all their paperwork for them. Like the whole time they're just with them and that's what they do.
Yeah.
So they never learn how to do their own paperwork. So they're not working anymore and they're retired and they're older. They really just can't do paperwork. And so they're always looking for someone else to do their paperwork. And usually that person is going to pay themselves first. Okay.
You have to educate yourself. I'm a big cheerleader of that. You always have to take classes and seminars. Go back to school if you have time. If you don't have time, you can always take a webinar or a seminar.
Right.
Or a class or an online course. It's always, you always have to educate yourself.
ABL, always be learning.
Always be learning. I would use that. Always be learning. Yeah.
I mean, for real, like you really have to, even, like they say, always keep training, even though these big actors, they still train and they coach after they get the gig. They're still coaching, working with a coach because it's important. Just because you got the role, keep coaching with the people on your lines. It's not like you never really arrive because you want to come out your best image, on the stage. So you're in a great position because you're in production. So you hear all the talk, what they're saying to the people who aren't doing these things. So you could just pay it forward and go back to them like, no, we're not going to have them say that about you. And I know they would appreciate it because everybody wants to actually look their best when they get their part. So,
yeah, and most actors, they're a business. You know, they have agents, they have managers, they have assistants, they have, you know, people that they have endorsements with that they have to be accountable to. You know, it's a lot moving an actor and their family around, you know. Some actors, you know, they have their partners and their family or RV that they want to use.
Right,
honey. You know, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's
you know,
they are a business. It is a business.
You know, being an actor is a business because you're employing all these people. Like, you're basically responsible for their livelihood.
Yeah. So
you know, you got to think of all these people that you're basically, that's on your payroll, that's making money off of you. It's a lot.
It's a big responsibility to have on your shoulders.
It is.
That's why I never wanted to be an actress. I'm like, I can memorize the lines and worry about y'all and worry about me. Like, that's a lot of worry.
Yeah. That's why they have all those people doing it for them, you know, the agent, the manager, the assistant, you know.
Yeah, because
they need to concentrate on acting.
But when you're supervising, you still have to have all the checks and balances. So that's a lot of organizing. And even you being responsible for the people who need to organize it, that's a lot of organizing too.
It is. You do have to be organized because there are so many moving parts and so many things going on during a production.
Budget changing. Let's talk about budget changing.
Yes, budgets can shift fast, especially during COVID, like when you have, you know, an actor that might get COVID or someone that can't come to work because of COVID, not even an actor, maybe a director or, you know, people from a certain department.
Right.
Or the show having to go down for a few days due to, you know, anything. It could be a family, something going on in the family. The person has to step away from the show. You know, things have to be shifted. And then you also always have the studio to report to. It's not something that you could just do on your own, a decision that you have to make on your own. There's a lot of different moving parts.
Right. Do you have like on your IG page where like people can ask questions, you know, after your seminar, when they walk away from the seminar, what is the open window, you know, if they still need help? Is it
I still talk to people on my seminar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just an ongoing process.
It is.
As things come up.
Yeah, like I refer them jobs. Actually, one of the people that attended my seminar, like I'm working with him on his resume. If I hear about, you know, job opportunities, I refer them to job opportunities or educational things or film festivals, any type of thing that I feel like that will help their career. Right. I always email them or call them. Actually, one of the ladies that attended my seminar, she's a freshman at Howard University. And I just connected her with one of my other friends whose daughter's starting at Howard, you know, so they, you know, it's just one big happy family, you know, just sharing information.
So is there like this list that you give them, like, okay, when you leave out of here, these are the things that you need to be successful? Because it sounds to me like you kind of create a Bible for them of, you know, just a starter kit, you know, like the starter kit.
Yes, I give a lot of information out in my seminar. Just we touch a little bit on budgeting, not a lot. Just basically on what goes on in the production office. Right. So they get all those documents.
Oh, they do get documents. Okay, great.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They do get documents to take with them. And then I also email them the documents so they have those documents with them that they can have access to.
I'm like, you need to put this in a little book.
Yeah, I could.
Yes, they have your little book where they can just purchase the book. And
one of my associates, Maya Sly, she was like, you need to like make a video and, you know, have people be able to access it afterwards. So I think I'm definitely going to do that on my next seminar.
And it's no way. And a lot of people would admire pet peeve is them not taking notes. So I'm like, I'm talking and you're not writing. because you're not going to remember it. You're going to be asking me again.
Right.
And I'm going to be mad because I didn't see you, trying to keep up with it. So I'm like, wow, my lips are moving and your hands aren't moving.
Yeah. But the great thing about us having it at Bobcat Studios and not just being in a classroom was they were actually able to see the sound stage. So, the production, their offices are in the front, but there are stages in the back of Bobcat Films.
You see, all this stuff takes place. It comes to life.
Yeah. So we were actually able to take a tour of the stages so they could see, how it's really set up for like multicam, but I mean, you could have it set up. It could be a feature or episodic shot there. They have sound stages. So, everyone that attended the seminar was able to see, the actual stages and how things are set up, costumes, props, if there was a camera dolly and the track.
Wait a minute, did they still have some wardrobe over there?
They do. You got to go over there and get you some wardrobe. They did.
Yes, for the wardrobe. Okay.
You better call Shane.
I know. That is hilarious. I know. I remember I used to be like, do you still have that black leather sofa? Yeah.
Give Roger a call.
Yes. But he was like, well, if you can get somebody to pick it up, but you got to bring it back. I'm like, why bring it back? Yeah. So, hey. Look, membership does have its privileges, right?
It does. I love that membership.
I think that should be the name of your book. Membership does have its privileges.
Yes, it does.
It does. And so that's why I tell people, the person you're working for now, 2 years from now, they could be the person that you are hiring.
Yeah. You
never know.
Actually, I worked with Roger at the beginning of my career at Tyler Perry Studios.
Wow.
When I was a production secretary. This was when Tyler had his studio on Krog Street.
Oh,
so this was before like the big, beautiful.
I'm like, maybe that's where I saw you. I know I've seen your face before.
But that studio was nice, but it was like, over on Krog Street, like near Rafton.
I remember,
like near the Beltline. Like the Beltline wasn't even there.
That was like the area though. What's so crazy is he didn't even know like that was the hot spot. Because just think if he would have kept that spot,
I would have bought a couple houses over there.
Oh my God, it would be worth so much money.
Yes, it's so nice.
Just because
it wasn't like a bad area when we worked over there, but it wasn't as nice as it is now. Right. I mean, they didn't have the belt line.
Gentrifying. I could see that happening over there just because it was very mixed. It was a mixed area.
Yes.
And it still wasn't bad looking, back then. It just was kind of rustic. Like, okay, that's being from LA. You're like, okay, that's Atlanta rustic. But maybe to the natives, they're like, yeah, but
right.
Us, it just was kind of like Venice Beach with no water.
And let me just tell you about when we talked about relationships.
Yes.
So like Paul Garnes worked at Tyler Perry Studios on Krog Street. Back in the day. I worked with him on Colin in Black and White, which was Ava DuVernay, Array, and a Netflix, and Colin Kaepernick. It was a limited series about his life. And I had first met Paul when I worked at Tyler Perry Studios. Like I first met Roger Bob when I worked at Tyler Perry Studios.
Right.
Angie Bones, who is now working at Tyler Perry Studios. She was actually working back there then. One of my best friends, Summer, she still works in the business. We worked there when his studio was located on Krog Street.
Wow.
So there are—
That was day ones.
Yes, absolutely. It's important to maintain relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Because you just never know. So that's why I tell everybody, watch what you say, think, count to 10, think about, when you want to pop off, because sometimes it's best to just swallow it, go in the bathroom, let it out, come back.
Yeah.
I've
been in the bathroom many a time saying a prayer. I was like, Jesus, God, please hear my prayer. You know that I'm a godly woman and I'm not going to go off on these people.
You have to remind yourself. You really have to remind yourself, like, self, like, give me a minute. But it's good when you can see that you just need to say, give me a minute. Because
Absolutely.
the new people, these new children, these new babies, these new teenagers that are going to be adults running the world, they're not saying that. Give me a minute and let
it
me.
It is absolutely okay to step away, and whatever floats your boat. For me, it's stepping away and saying a prayer in the bathroom,
yes.
and just taking some time for myself.
And they going to the trunk. They going back to the old school now.
Yes, absolutely.
They're taking it old school to the trunk of the car and coming back. Now when somebody step away, you like, I don't know. Somebody follow him.
Right. You just don't feel safe anymore. It's such a crazy world. It's such a crazy world.
It is. But I am so happy that you were able to give us some enlightenment. Do you have a website where they can just sign up for the next seminar?
Well, my next seminar is going to be in February of 2023. I haven't posted any information about it yet, but it's coming soon. Okay. But until then, you could go to Instagram at Avala Productions, and it's AVALA Productions. And Avala is named after my two girls. That's the name of my production company.
That's sweet. So you're going to turn it over to them. See, you building legacy for them. They have no clue. They have absolutely no clue. But guess what? Them seeing you doing all of this,
they have a clue when they see them tax bills come in the mail. They be like, oh, this says Avala.
They was like, no, ma'am. That is hilarious. They're like, what's this, mommy? Like, oh no, honey, it's just the cable bill. No, I'm kidding. That's another back in the day thing that I don't hear parents doing these days. So I hope that all faded out.
Yes.
Music videos, or they can go to your Instagram and DM you.
Absolutely. Yes. Seminars in February of 2023.
I like to ask Courtney column on the website because you are a wealth of information. If I was trying to get into production, I would be just asking you. If I had to come to Jesus moment where I needed to get your advice, I would be asking you, because you have a really good temperament that it seems like you would be very patient.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, girl, because I can't get no eyewitnesses to say that. You like, really? Me? But no, you do. I love it. And that's what you need in this business. Like, that is the main thing. I tell people, if you're humble, you can go so far all the way to the top. But you have to be patient and you have to be humble. But your time will come if you just keep working.
Yeah. It's all about timing. It's all about timing.
Last question. Is there ever a time for when to say when, like, this is it? To throw it down?
What do you mean, like in your career?
Your career in production, in film, and entertainment, because a lot of people just want to throw in the towel. They feel like they've exhausted all the resources. But when you look at it, I tell people, most of the people that have hit big and went on, they were 40. Like, they were 40 and above when they just really got the cusp and the fame and the money and the notoriety, or the work that they wanted to get with the budgets that they needed. I mean, it didn't just happen in their early 20s. It doesn't happen overnight. So what advice would you give them of how to be more patient and what to do in the meantime?
I would say, if it's truly your dream and your passion, and it sparks this fire within you, and you're excited to get up in the morning and do it, to never give up on your dreams. Like, I would say when is never.
That's what I wanted to hear you say.
But I will say, speaking for myself, if I was to give someone else advice, I truly love what I do. I think I found my passion when I interned at LaFace. And I think it just, I took a pivot from music to television. But you notice a lot of artists kind of go back and forth between music and film if you're artistic. And, you just have to surround yourself with good people. I will say that. Educate yourself. find peace and do things that, you know, make you happy and bring peace, you know, within yourself. Yes. Because if you're not at peace and happy with yourself, you can't bring that to others, you know? Yeah. And I would just say always, you know, make contacts, connections, go do seminars, go to film festivals, network, maintain relationships, and put yourself out there, speak it into the universe.
Yes.
You can absolutely manifest the life that you want. You know, if you say, I want to produce this $100 million feature film, you keep going out there saying, you know, I'm producing this $100 million feature film and I'm looking for resources, investors. You know, you have to speak it into existence.
That's true.
You have to manifest the life that you want. That's almost like what Oprah Winfrey.
I mean, and it's true though, it works. You know, I'm a total believer in the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And if you look at what's going on in your life, 90% of it, you attracted there. Good or bad, if you want to admit it or not, or take accountability. If you look at your life that you're living right now, 90%, you've attracted everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, law of attraction, you know, law of attraction, manifestation,
secrets,
staying positive.
All of that, throw all of that in the pot these days. The secret, yes. The law of attraction book, just keep stirring it and keep drinking that super hope.
Yes, my friend Dion is a big person about like manifesting things and speaking things into existence. And I do believe, you know, I'm a Christian. I do have faith. I also believe in being at peace and speaking positive about myself and about others.
Oh yeah.
And you just have to have a good, you know, work ethic. I think I saw something on the internet where Denzel Washington don't quote me specifically for what he said, but he was basically like dreams without works. Like you have to have a dream and you have to work at it. You know, you can't have a dream without works.
Yeah. Like the Bible even says faith without works is dead.
Right. So, you know, when you write down your goals and you're manifesting this, you know, things for your life and what you want out of your life, you also have to put in the work.
So you can't lay on the beach and manifest it and then just go for
Well, you do have to lay on the beach sometimes.
No, I said, and go for a surf. And then keep looking at the clock and the emails to see if anything happens.
But then you got to get back to work.
Right. So make sure you have work to get back to.
Yes. Absolutely.
APW, always be working. You probably could go through the whole alphabet and find something to put it with that, you know. That's what's so crazy. But we appreciate you so much, Courtney Ward-Thompkins, and we are going to go ahead and roll on out.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye.